Good morning from a street in Rotterdam. Today I'm going to be visiting an iconic part of Rotterdam using a form of transport which is yet to feature on the channel. What could possibly go wrong? Anyway, let's get going. Okay. The reality is, of course, we're going on a bit of a geek's guide to Rotterdam. Erasmus. We're going to the Erasmus Bridge. Over the River Maas?
It is, River Maas, yes.
This is the Erasmus Bridge, which was opened in, looking to my Dutch colleague,
2000-ish?
2000-ish. And it's a traditional bridge in that it crosses a river. And there's tram lines on it, and it does that to let boat traffic through. And it's a nice place just to catch your breath when you're absolutely out of breath and rolling back. The Erasmus Bridge actually opened in 1996 and is nicknamed the Swan. Right, so we have parked up there because it's raining quite heavily, and we're just going to walk to the Maas Tunnel, which is where this whole adventure is taking us. So this is a tunnel that carries vehicles and pedestrians and bicycles with cyclists on them mainly, across the Maas River. So let's go and have a look. Firstly, apologies to all my Dutch viewers because I'm about to butcher your beautiful language with some appalling pronunciation. This building is the Blaktoren, or Black Tower. It's also known as the Potlood, or the pencil, because of its pointy end. So this is the Binnenrotte in Rotterdam, and this used to all be water. There's a river down there, and a dam was built to stop the water coming in, obviously, and that was to allow the railway station to get built there in 1874. But now the railway is underneath us on the Willemspoor tunnel, I think. Now that is what you call a public toilet. So the next stop on this tour of Rotterdam is a railway bridge that doesn't have a railway anymore, but lifts up and down over the river. So apparently it's a monument now, so it's not going to be taken down anytime soon. Certainly not within the next 10 minutes. So that's nice. Constructed in 1898, the Witte Huis, or White House, was evidently the first high-rise building in Europe. Right, we're wandering on. So if my SD card isn't too badly corrupted, you will have got the footage of us on the bridge cycling, and that's the bridge over there. It's the Erasmus Bridge, and the sun's coming out. So happily, I am not in Rotterdam on my own. I've got some Dutch friends with me, one of whom is Zach, and he is going to explain what we can see behind us, or in front of us, because behind us is the river. So that's just a river. Even I can explain what a river is, but Zach's going to explain what is in front of us. So take it away, Zach.
Well, what you see here on the other side of me is a lot of new build, and as most people know, Rotterdam has been bombarded by the Germans in the Second World War. So they had to build a lot of new buildings, and that's what they did here in the city center. And you can basically see sort of a border, new builds and old buildings on your right hand side. So basically all the new builds, that area in the city center was bombarded by the Germans, so they had to build again.
See, informative. Geese have been spotted, and I'm told they will not attack me. Let's find out. Hello, guys. Hello. They didn't attack me. Awesome. Now we're going to cross another bridge, making sure they weren't chasing me, and get a little bit closer to this old railway bridge. This is where we're crossing. Let's go. So we have crossed the Willemsbrug, which is that lovely red bridge behind us, and to the right you might be able to see the embankment of the former railway that ran across there, and the bridge which went across the Maas River. So let's get a little bit closer. The official name for De Hef is Koningshavenbrug, King's Harbour Bridge, and it was opened in 1927 and was very popular with divers. They would jump off the bridge as it was raised to higher and higher points. Perhaps not too surprisingly, this practice was stopped in 1933 when a diver died during their attempt. It's called the Hef, which means the lift, and it is a state monument, so it's maintained by the government, kept in good repair. I think we might be able to get up onto the embankment and have a little look on the bridge itself. Exciting. Now, what do you do when you've got a disused railway with an embankment? You put a slide on it. So, guess what's happening soon? Look at him running with his legs. What we're looking at is the embankment which carried the Breda to Rotterdam railway line. So when the Willems railway tunnel opened in 1994, this section of railway line was decommissioned, so the elevated railway through Rotterdam and the Willems railway bridge over the Maas, they were all demolished and removed. So all that's left is this embankment and the Hef bridge. Ah, the track's still there. Look at that. Still got the track. Yep, it's locked. How cool is that? Very much in keeping with the divers mentioned earlier, I now have my own date with extreme sport. Ooh, really went flying. It is quite muddy. Ooh. This is like the Krypton Factor. None of this gladiators nonsense. Right. I think it's wide enough. Let's give it a go. Here we go. Keep That is the least slidey slide I've ever seen. So there is what remains of the railway bridge. and there's very little information about it. However, local guide Zach has a theory on this. So Zach, why is there not, you know, like an information board just explaining what's going on or what happened there? What do you think?
Well, the people of Rotterdam are known for their working ethic. They don't think too much of themselves. They used to work, many of them, in the harbour for years. So something like this, the railway, wouldn't be of any interest to them. It would be quite normal, and they wouldn't think of how interesting it could be to others who visit the city. So basically, they don't think too much of themselves. Just get on with life and work hard.
So that's fair enough. But I'd like to know what it is. I'm all about bragging and boasting and making a big fuss about things. So that is how the bridge looked, and I think there is some information here which is conveniently about 3/4 or a third of the way, not 3/4, a third of the way up the building, so I can't actually read anything that it says. Okay, it is time for a top Rotterdam, possibly Netherlands fact. So here we have a bin. Look at that, just a regular bin, but it's got one of these on top. Why? Well, underneath that goes down 2.5 meters, and your big bin lorry comes along and attaches to that, and the whole thing comes up, and there's 2.5 cubic meters worth of rubbish. But look, from above it just looks like a standard bin. Top quality YouTube right there. So we hopped off the bikes earlier because it was absolutely lashing. It was so unpleasant, but the rain has stopped, so that is encouraging. I can see through my glasses, which is a big help, and on we go. So that is the entrance to the Maas Tunnel in Rotterdam. And I know what you're possibly thinking. It's a tunnel, Tim. It's in Rotterdam. Could be anywhere, Liverpool or Rome. But let's give it a look and see what the Maas Tunnel is all about. Apparently there is a knack to taking your bike down the escalators, these beautiful wooden escalators. So I'm going to let all the pros go first and then give it a go. I don't think I've done it right. That is Peter Drugliever Fortuyn, Mayor of Rotterdam between 1928 and 1938. Now, while he was mayor, he contributed substantially to the Maas Tunnel. He was involved with the construction of the Kuip football stadium, where Feyenoord still play, and he was one of the founders of what would become the Royal Dutch Football Association. Busy guy. Time for some Maas Tunnel facts. The Maas Tunnel was the first immersed road tunnel in the world with a rectangular cross-section. Previous tunnels were circular. The Maas Tunnel was built in sections in dry dock and then ferried into position and sunk into a trench that had been dug in the riverbed. The tunnel contains 2 side-by-side tunnels for motor vehicles and 2 vertically stacked tubes for pedestrians and cyclists. Every day, the Maas Tunnel carries 75,000 vehicles and about 4,500 cyclists. And at one time it was even equipped with a laboratory to study the air quality in the tunnel. So that was a cycle through the Maas Tunnel, and it's just over a kilometre in length. At its lowest point, the tunnel is 20 metres below sea level. That's very impressive. Also impressive was the fact that I actually overtook someone. Amazing. It's a beautiful tunnel, and with these wooden escalators, it's just gorgeous. It was built between 1937 and 1942. It didn't have an official opening because the Netherlands had a Nazi occupation going on, and that tends to put a dampener on any celebratory moods. But it still opened, and it did have some kind of opening, and it's just tremendous fun. So we're going to go back up the escalators. You know, we love an escalator on Tim's Travels, so let's go.
Okay, Tim, there you go.
There's definitely a knack to that, but the bike didn't go flying backwards, so that's good. So on the other side of the Maas Tunnel is SS Rotterdam. Look at that. That is a classy looking ship. So that is where we've come from. You can see the Euromast, and next to it is the entrance to the Maas Tunnel, and also the what's the word? The things that help you to breathe. Things that keep the air flowing through the tunnel next to it. Quite a spot. I'll tell you what I find most remarkable, apart from the engineering to get a tunnel built, is the fact that this was built during the Second World War, when Rotterdam was being absolutely hammered and had the German occupation. I just find that incredible. There we go. My little musings. So that is a few bits and bobs from around Rotterdam, and it's quite an impressive city. The cycling went fine. No one died. I was concentrating most of the time and just going in a straight line, and I managed that for the most part. But come and see Rotterdam for yourself. So I've just got to say a big thank you to Zach and Loek for taking good care of me. I'm not a proficient cyclist by any stretch of the imagination, but they made sure I didn't get run over. And thanks also to you for watching. I appreciate this is a longer video than normal and something different, but thanks so much, and look out for the next one.